Are you still there, by the
Yeah,
way?
do you want to just look that up?
Cold Beet Soup is a podcast for casual fans who want to explore lore and fandom rabbit holes in music and gaming.
And are sad sometimes. Okay, we're live.
Oh, it's that coronavirus is back. Welcome to Cold Beet Soup, episode 30. I'm starting to announce the
You'll
episodes
be
now. Just kidding.
you'll be 30 soon.
Not that soon. It's months away.
You think. And then you blink and then you're like,
Actually,
ah!
I don't know about that because I feel like January has been way too long. And
Really?
I'm like, I need this to
I'm
stop.
like, oh shit, my birthday is in like 2 weeks.
Oh, speaking of, I had a little kerfuffle and I was really annoyed because I part of your gift I found on Etsy.
Mm,
So I was like, let me buy this early because, different vendors, they take different times. I want to make sure I'd rather have it come like a couple days early than be late.
mm.
Um, so I found it, it's perfect. I order it and then it said like, "Oh, your order was canceled." And I was like, so I try a second time, but it cancels again. And they said some of the reasons, one of them could be it could come from like the vendor side, the seller side.
Mm.
So I messaged
Oh no, we're freezing
them.
already.
She's just like, she's just a gem. Oh, it froze.
Okay,
It's okay. At
you're
least we're
not
freaking.
froze.
I was froze?
You were, but now you're not.
Okay. Yeah, I saw you freeze for a second too. So, hey, at least we're getting this all out now because once I start talking about my presentation, I don't want to get interrupted. I'm very excited about this topic. So, anyways, so I messaged her. She was super nice. She's like, "Oh, that's so weird. Like, where are you located?" I was like, "Oh, I'm in the States." She's like, "Well, we definitely ship to the States." She's like, "Try this other link." She's like, "It's the same thing, but we just like renamed it something else for SEO." And I was like, "Oh, okay, no worries." So I try that, put it in my cart, try to buy it, and then I get a banner on the top of my Etsy that says your account has been suspended. And I'm like, the fuck? So then it's like, check your inbox. I don't have an email from Etsy. I was like, so then I try to reach out to customer service. They don't have a phone number. There's no chat. I was like, how do I talk to a person? So I finally like put in a request, but it had been a couple hours and she responded to me. She's like, hey, just let me know if you have any other problems. Heart emoji. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so nice. Like, I want to give her my business. But I also was like looking at the new deadlines, like, because I tried this like 2 days ago and now it already says like it might be a couple days late. So I'm like, fuck all this. I'm just going to buy this as a guest, whatever. So that's what I tried. It's still processing, now it says it could take up to 72 hours to process. But I was like, I'm not going to wait for Etsy to get their shit together.
Mm.
But yeah, that's just my basically long rant about how Etsy pissed me off with their lack of customer service. I can't imagine as a seller how frustrating that must be. Like, imagine you make your livelihood off of Etsy
Mm.
and they were like, "Oh, sorry, you're banned and you can't call anyone. You just have to
That's
wait."
weird.
Like, and you know what's funny?
No.
What is their motto? What is their motto? It was something about humans. And I was like, "Oh, is it that ironic?" It was like bringing business to humans. Hold on, it's on the bottom of their fucking page. Where is it? Etsy's powered by renewable electricity. Yeah, whatever. Whatever you say. It was oh God, it was on the bottom of their page, but it was like keeping business human. And I was like, oh, is it? Because you're not even listening to me.
No, I'm listening. I'm looking at Etsy's thing to see if there is customer support.
You don't believe me?
I do, but it's weird to me.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just a customer support form.
Yeah. You don't believe me? Why would I lie? Why would I make this up? Like, today was so rough. Today I start work at 7, as
Mm.
you know. By 9 a.m., I was like, I want to go home. I've had enough. it's just it was a trying day between like, stuff going on with the changeover of the administration has been pretty chaotic, and then just like people at work just doing wild things that I'm like, or not reading stuff. We've talked about this before where like
Mm.
people don't read what you send. And I was like, I sent an email where I literally wrote, that was not what I asked. What I asked was, and then I bolded and underlined it. Hey, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. But it's fine. Anyway, sorry, I'd been word vomiting for a while. That's not what
For
we're here to
five
talk
minutes
about.
and 37 seconds. No, just
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought a podcast is where you talk.
and you froze.
Oh my God. If it freezes, I swear to God, I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm gonna lose it. You froze for me.
Yeah.
I if I don't I'm very like wary of starting my topic because I'm gonna get really excited and I'm not it's gonna be hard for
Yep,
me to
and then we're
stop
gonna have to switch to
talking.
Google Meets.
I'll be so mad. That's okay. I'll try sharing my screen. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if it decides to not be a bitch. Um, but what we are here to talk about today, I'm very excited.
Are you?
I know I say that every single time. I know. But this is a band, Daft Punk, and you can see it on the screen, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Daft Punk is like I listened to them when I was a kid, and into my teen years,
Your
so this
parents
was a
let you?
band, like I didn't really tell them that
Okay.
I had my ways of getting around the music restrictions that they put on me, so, like, I would, uh I think it was at my friends' houses or, like, in their cars, I'd have my so we didn't have an iPod, it was like a SanDisk, and I would record stuff on the radio, so my parents didn't know, so I'd have, like, literally potato quality, like, I remember Buy You a Drink, like, I had that, and it was like, I'd be like, "Imma take it home with me." I was like, "Hell yeah." Like, me at 13, like but that's how I would get around it, and then there was this
Damn.
game I had on my iPod Touch, where it was like I don't remember what it was called, but it was almost like Guitar Hero type where like you had it on your phone and you it's a rhythm game, so you're playing to songs and Technologic was one of the songs and it was my favorite. Like I'd be like, buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, upgrade it, charge it from it, zoom it, smack, and I was like, Technologic, and I was like, yeah, yeah. And I like so I like this band quite a bit. I was sad when they uh, disbanded, but
Spoilers.
um listen, if you don't know this by now, like it's in the thumbnail, like the picture of the thumbnail, that like pyramid well, oh, I don't think I put the date on there. Did I put the date on there?
I don't think so. Not
Maybe.
on the thumbnail. It was just
Oh, I might have taken it
Chris.
out. Oops. Oops.
I don't think. Maybe it
Listen.
is.
Maybe. I don't remember, but the original so where that picture came from, the pyramid, it was from their Epilogue video that they put out, and it said 1993 until 2021. So, I mean, if you don't know
Illuminati.
by now that's so funny because someone on my Discord, I posted, like, one of their sets on the music channel, and the guy was like, yeah, I'm really interested in the story about the pyramid. I think it has something to do with the Illuminati. And I was like, to be honest, I think they're too cool to be in the Illuminati, like dead ass. So, um, yeah, I want to cover like Daft Punk's, how they came to be, their whole discography, and like they've done projects in between as well in different mediums that I think is really interesting. And then at the very end, because we like to touch on lore on this podcast, so I'm gonna try to like make a little um story for the Daft Punk universe, I guess. Obviously, this is just my interpretation. This is not anything official. Like 21 Pilots lore was like official. Like they did it. They built it this way. With Daft Punk, they really just they like to make different, you know, songs and music and showcase their art in different ways. And so it's just me, theorizing. So don't rake me over the coals. Anyways, let's get into it. Who are these guys behind the helmets? So we
Ah,
have two two individuals. They're a French musical duo. I looked up how to say their names correctly, so I apologize if I don't pronounce this right. French is a very intimidating language because I feel like even if you say stuff right, people like especially I think in Paris, like people will still they don't even follow their own structure, which is really funny for French. So like it's really hard to learn in that way. So the guy on the left, his name is Thomas Bangaltier, and then the guy on the right is Guy Manuel du Umem Cristo. So I'm just gonna call him Thomas and Guy Manuel for the sake of shortness.
yeah, yeah.
It's hard. Yeah, it's like way too much to say. It's hard to find pictures of them actually because they wear the helmets. They're pretty shy individuals. The picture of Tomas is from he did an interview. I want to say it was New York Times in 2023. And then Guy Manuel, I don't even know how this picture of him was found getting gas because like he's like the even more shy one of the two. Like Thomas will actually sometimes do like interviews and stuff, but Guy Manuel's like pretty reclusive. So the two of these guys met in secondary school in Paris. And before Daft Punk, they actually played in a rock band called Darlin. Funny enough, they were not the only members. There was another member. I actually didn't look up how to say his name. He's wasn't important enough for the sake of this
Wait, is
presentation. He's an important
Laurent?
guy.
Laurent?
Yeah, Laurent Brankowitz. He actually left like when he because the band obviously didn't last because Daft Punk exists. But Brankowitz formed another band called Phoenix. Do you know that band? Have you heard of
Mm-mm.
them?
Mm-mm.
They have a song called 1901, I think is probably like one of their most popular songs. But they do it's like an indie rock. It's a good band. They're pretty awesome. So I was like, "Oh, small world." So for Darlin, the roles that they played, Guy Manuel, he played the guitar, Thomas played the bass, and then Laurent did drums and occasionally guitar. And the name Darlin came from Beach Boys uh sorry, not yeah, Beach Boys song, which they did a cover of, and then they also did their own composition, and they took those two songs and had them released on like a EP with other artists as well. Um, but the band didn't, yeah.
I was
Oh, I
gonna
thought you were
ask
gonna say
how. No,
something.
no, no. I was gonna ask how old were they during this Darling thing?
So 1990, I want to say this was like 1993, so they were still teenagers. I don't actually know how old they are off the top of my head. But I want to say like they almost look like they're either early 20s, like Toma Bon. Yeah, I'll look up Toma's age. So Toma was born in 1975. So 1993 minus 1975, yeah, 18.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, late teens, early 20s. That sounds about right. So yeah, they were young. I mean, um they didn't last long. It was like a 6-month stint where they did this. They did play like a couple gigs. They did produce a couple other songs, but the project was kind of like it was kind of mid. It didn't really go anywhere. But Toman Guy Manuel around this time they started to go to like EDM clubs. Um, and they really liked how the music was, being mixed on the fly and stuff like that. With the house music and DJs, they were very
Mm.
interested in this whole concept, and that's how Daft Punk started. Like they're like, well, let's try this. So I think that their first like studio, Toma got some equipment together. They started mixing and mashing. They put out a demo tape. I want to say it was like late 90s or late 1993. Um, and their first like big hit was Defunk that came out in 1995. Um, so the name, because we got to talk about where the name came from. So
Mm.
Daft Punk, uh, funny enough, when Darlin, put out their little EP that they did, they had this British music critic describe their song as daft punky trash. That was like the exact verbiage this guy used. So they took the Daft Punk and made that their name. So it's kind of cool because they got dragged and now they're like one of the most successful. I mean, one of the most well-known names in EDM.
Mm.
So pretty cool. So yeah, Defunk was their first like big major hit. After this, of course, record labels are very interested in you, so they ended up signing with Virgin Records. The reason why I'm bringing this up and like I have a whole slide for it is it's gonna come up later, and I kind of want to tie those two things together. So they picked Virgin Records because that partnership gave them the most creative control. I mean, it's not a secret that record labels will try to take advantage of artists. Um, I think it's just like criminal that you can create a song and the record label's like, that actually belongs to us now. Like, I
Right.
think that's insane. And they'll do that.
Mm.
So that's why they picked Virgin Records. I can't remember if it was Toma or Guy Manuel. I want to say it's Toma. One of their dads was either a producer or musician, so they had some exposure to the music industry already, so they weren't new to it. Um, and that's, why they picked Virgin Records. This was in September 1996. The following year, they released their first album called Homework. Uh, it did very well. And of course, when your album is successful, you get a lot of publicity.
Mm.
Because we got to talk about the helmets. That's going to be a big point of discussion with Daft Punk because they're known for their helmets. You don't even know what they look like. A lot of
Yeah.
those pictures were hard to find of them. Um, so the reason why the helmets started was because when this album was taking off, they were having a lot of interviews and pictures, and they're both shy. Like I said a couple slides ago, they're shy people. They don't like the spotlight. So what they started doing in the early days was just like putting on masks. So that's why I put this picture from Mix Mag magazine. It's like a 1997 issue. It's like think, Party City, Spirit Halloween. They just find some mask and they would like put it on before an interview so people, can't see their faces. Um, and another thing that they would point out is they want the focus to be the music, not them. They're like, it's not about us, it's about the music that we make. So that was something that they talked about. Now, of course, they're going to do the helmets eventually. I'll talk about that. It doesn't come for a few more years. So prior to that, they put out their first video compilation. I don't actually believe they did any other video
Oh.
collections except for this one. Yeah, it's very different. So the video collection is called DAFT. It stands for the DAFT acronym stands for dogs, androids, firemen, and tomatoes. Um, it's just consists of 6 music videos from their first album. There is no story tying these 6 videos together, although 2 of the videos do have a bit of a story. Um, so although there's no story tying all these together, I want to talk about all 6 of the videos because I think they're very interesting. And I think it'll kind of help set the tone for how these guys were just very different,
Mm.
very artistic. So starting with Daft, or I'm starting with D, Dogs. The first music video was from Da Funk, the song we talked about, the one from 1995. So this music video follows this dog named Charles, okay? Charles just moved to New York City about a month ago. He unfortunately has a broken leg, and it just follows him around New York, and he's got this boombox that won't turn off, and the boombox is playing the song. So he's just walking around with a boombox blasting Daft Punk. He stops by, like sometimes in the city you'll see like people will set up their own little like shop with like a table and they're selling,
Yeah.
random
Hmm.
shit or whatever. So there was this guy, he was selling books, and the Charles saw Big City Nights. He's like, "Oh yeah, I want to get this one." So the guy's like, "Yeah, it's like $2." So he's going to grab his wallet, and the guy's having a conversation with someone else. And as he's like trying to get his wallet out, because he's got his crutch and his boombox, he's trying to balance all his shit. The guy's like, "Hey, can you turn that off? Like, I'm trying to have a conversation here." And Charles was like, "Oh, sorry, I can't." And he shows like how it's broken. He's like, "Oh, okay." And then he goes to like a convenience store and runs into this woman named Beatrice that he like grew up with, but they fell out of touch. And she's like, "Oh, you should come by for dinner. Like we could take the bus, go to the other side of town." He's like, "Okay." So he like they're waiting for the bus and she gets on and he's about to get on, but the bus sign says no radios. And he's like, "Oh, oh, oh." And then the bus drives away and Beatrice is like, "What the fuck?" And it's kinda sad. The ending's kinda sad, and, nobody gives a shit that he's a dog. Nobody.
Oh, so the
Everybody just
rest of so the rest of the people are just actual people. They're not like
they're just
animals.
actual people.
Oh, okay.
He is just a dog person, and everybody else is just like, "Whatever."
They're like,
Nobody thinks that
why is your radio turning off?
Yeah, they're more concerned about the radio than his appearance. Like, nobody gave a shit. So that's an interesting, like, Daft Punk, and they've said this repeatedly, they like to break the rules. They just choose to do what they want. They did say also officially that this music video has like no story or meaning. They're like, "Yeah, it's just like a dog in New York. We just thought that would be cool, and that's what we did." Um, Tomas said that, so I thought that was kind of cool. So that's dogs. Androids is going to be around the world. That's the one I wanted to show you because what's cool
Around
about
the
this
world, around the world.
around the world. What's cool about this music video is every single part is visually demonstrated. So like these mummies, these are the drums. These
Mm.
guys, they're the bass. This is the synth. So like you can see it in a second. Hold on. Hold on. See how they go up and down?
Mhm.
Yeah, they like time it perfectly. And then this is the guitar. And then the final part, the spaceman, that's the vocals.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
and that, yeah, so that was, and I mean, I've seen this music video. I'm sure a lot of us have. Never thought about it once. I just thought, wow, that's weird as hell. Like, I was like, what are all these parts? What are they doing? Like, it's so weird. But that was their intention was just to like visually show all the parts in the song. Um, So that's androids. We got to talk about firemen next. So the song is called "Burnin'." The purpose of this music video is to pay tribute to
Oh no.
Chicago.
Technical difficulties.
Okay, we're back. Discord decided to crap the bed again, so here we are. Fire, just like Discord. Okay, let's get back into it. Let's get back into it. So, Vernon pays tribute to Chicago house producers that inspired Daft Punk. So there's actually a scene in the music video where there's like a big party, and at that party scene, you see a bunch of these house producers. Daft Punk themselves also make a little cameo. So like Tomas wearing sunglasses and a like dark wig, and Guy Manuel's wearing like a purple suit and a blonde wig. Um, and the video is actually shot in Chicago. I think it was on Wacker Drive, which is pretty cool. So the story, very simple. The video starts with a boy like playing with a toy fire truck in a suburb, like while his dad is cooking a steak on a barbecue. And then the scene like pans over to this house party in, or not house party, I guess, because it's in that office building. This big party, a fire starts, and basically nobody like knows that it's happening, or no one really, yeah, no one notices. But then a bunch of firefighters show up, and then escort the party members out of the building. That's why I just put a picture of the fire on the screen because I'm like, yeah, it's a fire. And then there's like a suggestion that maybe the boy with the fire truck, it's like somehow connected to the firefighters in the video. So that's the fireman component. Not that weird, just kind of like a simple music video. It gets really weird with tomatoes. So the final, the T in Daft. The tomatoes is the music video. The song is called Revolution 909. So there's a rave taking place in an alley, and a bunch of police officers like show up to break up the party, and a bunch, so people get rounded up, and one of them is this woman, and looks at the cop's shirt, and this is why I put the picture on the slide, because she looks at this stain, and when she looks at this stain, it triggers like this entire flashback of like when the tomato seed was grown, to when it fully grows, to when it gets sent to the grocery store, to when the person buys it from the grocery store and then like cooks with it and puts it in the spaghetti in the Tupperware. And then the cop's sitting in his car eating the Tupperware. And then, oh, geez, I got this stain. And then, like, pivots all the way back when he looks down at his shirt, she gets like pulled up in the alley, so she gets to like, escape. But it's just like, I was like, what the like, it's kind of a cool concept, like really artsy, right? Like everything has a story, whether you know it or not. Something as small as like a tomato stain has a really long story that you would have never thought about. Kind of like cool and different. But the first time I watched it, I was like, what have I gotten myself into with this music video? Um, are you still there, by the
Yeah,
way?
do you want to just lick that up?
No, I don't
Why?
like
Just go.
tomatoes. Dude, you know I don't like tomatoes.
Oh. But you like pizza.
Eh, I'm okay with it, yeah, but I prefer like a non-tomato sauce. I'll
Oh.
eat sauce without tomato. Yeah. Why do you think I ate like that cheesy garlic bread mostly?
Oh. I
Like I
like,
don't mind it. Like I think it's still fine,
yeah,
but
I
I
like
I prefer
ketchup and
like
everything.
I don't like ketchup. I like
Yeah, and then
tomatoes.
I don't like eating tomatoes by themselves, but I can have it on a sandwich or but like how
Yeah.
people eat it by themselves or a tomato salad, I'm like, ooh.
What about cherry tomatoes? Do you like
Mm-mm.
cherry tomatoes, like the little ones? Because
No,
I've
not
know
by
people that
themselves.
like. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I know people that like the little ones, but they don't like big tomato. I just don't. I don't know what it is. My whole life, I tried to eat them. I can't. I do, however, like sometimes for my like my every plate meals that I get, they come with tomato sauce, and I think that's okay. Like I'm fine with it.
Mm.
I'm not. It's not like my favorite thing, but I think it's fine. I'm not like, oh my gosh, tomato sauce. Like I prefer like a pasta that has like a cream based sauce, like an Alfredo or something like that. I prefer it.
Oh, okay. So,
Um,
but you would
yeah.
eat like meatballs and spaghetti or no?
I would never order that
Mm.
anywhere. Like I probably wouldn't make it. Like I'd eat it. I think it's fine, but like it wouldn't be my favorite thing, you
Yeah,
know?
that's
Like
like
if
me
they're
with
like,
like ribs and stuff. Like I'll eat it, but I'm like, mm.
yeah, yeah. But the one thing I won't eat is like tomatoes on a burger or on a sandwich. Like, no, I take it
Mm.
off. Um, or like um yeah, tomatoes in a salad, like no, I
Yeah,
can't.
I don't like it in a salad either.
Yeah. And if I get a recipe where I actually have to put tomatoes in, I just don't do it. I just don't use the tomatoes.
Fair enough.
Um, yeah, so I'm a true tomato hater. I've tried to eat them. Because I used to not like onions, and now I eat onions all the time.
Mm.
Um, so I'll retry tomatoes every once in a while, but it's still I don't know. I just don't like it. So who knows? Each to their own, I guess. Um, so Charles comes back. We get some redemption for Charles in the fifth music video. The song's called Fresh. Charles has like a movie career in California. He just finishes a day of shooting and maybe I should say filming. I feel like shooting is not a positive word to say.
Not anymore.
Ugh. So yeah, he finishes, he like walks off, and then Beatrice is waiting for him in the car to pick him up. And it looks like they're dating, so they're gonna have dinner and they're like talking in the car and the car's driving away, but that's like the whole music video. It's
And
really whole
Beatrice is a human.
she's a human and she's the same human from the Defunct music video, the same woman that he was trying to get dinner with that first one, but she got on the bus and he didn't.
Mm.
So it seemed like yeah, they work things out, they're friends.
What happened?
Actually,
What
Beatrice,
happened to his boombox?
this is Beatrice.
Oh, okay.
No boombox doesn't show up in
Oh.
the music video at all. There's no again, like they made this as a sequel to give Charles a happier ending. Like Daft Punk said they're like, we felt bad, we wanted to give him like a happy ending, so they did. But yeah, they didn't I didn't see the boombox at all.
Mm.
So just gone. The final video was actually just a live set of theirs. So it's called Rollin' and Scratchin'. It was a performance of theirs in LA. I didn't put a slide up of it because it's just two guys. It's just the two of them performing. But they don't have masks because this was in like 1997. So that's probably one of the last times you see them without their helmets. What happened? So there's a story as to how they got the helmets. They came up with a whole story. So the official story is that on September 9th, 1999 at 9:09 a.m., they were doing a track and their sampler crashed and exploded and there were sparks and they were injured and had to do a surgery and then they got turned into robots. So this you see them, as robots. Uh a funny thing about this little like bug that affected their sampler, they called it the 9999 virus because it was really close to 2000, with Y2K and
Mm.
all that stuff. So they were kind of making a play on that. Um but yeah, it was a little unfortunate. The song they were working on was erased. They had to start over. But yeah, they got turned into robots, is what they told the press. I want to talk about their helmets a little bit more because I think they're really interesting. Do you want to guess how much it cost to make the original helmets?
Is it high or low?
I think it's high for helmets.
10,000?
It's more than that.
Oh,
Yeah,
20
$65,000.
each?
That I couldn't figure out. So I tried to look if it's each or total, and every single article just said it cost 65,000. It cost 65,000. I was like, so I guess it must be total if they didn't go into each,
Mm.
right? But because I looked at no joke like 10 articles, and they all just said they cost $65,000. They cost 60. I was like, okay, each or total. So I guess it's total. Um, the concept behind them. So they were produced by this guy named Paul Hahn of Daft Arts. I couldn't find any information on this man except for he is so Daft Arts was like the production company that Daft Punk made,
Mm.
but like I couldn't find anything else about this dude. So I was like, okay, whatever. The design comes from two French directors named Alex and Martin. They've directed a lot of music videos. Um, Primarily, I think I saw the ones that were like the most popular was with U2 and White Stripes, but they had a whole listing on their Wikipedia. So they're pretty well known. The original designs actually they had hair, like hair pieces in addition to the helmets, but when they like put everything together, they thought, it's too much. So did away with it, which I'm glad they did. And then for the actual engineering component, how to make it work, they called in this guy, Tony Gardner, who is a makeup and special effects designer. He's worked on movies like Zombieland, Jackasses, Bad Grandpa, uh, The Addams Family from the 90s. So
Hmm.
he's like done a lot of cool shit. So they tagged him in for this. Um, and the starting point for Tomas' helmet was a movie called The Day the Earth Stood Still. It's like a old, I want to say from like the 50s or something like that, where I don't know if they're like spacemen or aliens, but they wear these like silver helmets, so it makes sense because Tomas is silver. I really like this like infographic. I think I found it on Reddit because it shows all the different components.
Mm.
Um, for Guy Manuel, he wanted his to be gold, like the NASA space helmets. And funny enough, they found they actually use the company. There's like a company in Ohio that does the tinting of the helmets for NASA. So they use that same company to tint their helmets
Mm.
for their face shells. Yeah. And for the LEDs, they actually found the guy that like designed the jumbotron screens. Like when you go to like a sporting event and they got the score up,
Yeah. Hmm.
they found that guy, and that guy did like design the LEDs for them. um and you gotta wonder, like, how do they see?
Right.
How do they see with all this stuff? So what I found out was that anytime they had the LED displays, because as you know, like the helmets did change.
Mm.
You can even see it right here. They change. So when they had the LEDs, they actually had these like pin-sized holes for their eyes so they could see. And then for when they changed it, it's kind of like a tinted window. So you know how like you can't really see in,
Mm.
but they can see out. So it's kind of like looking with like sunglasses, so they can see. And the reason actually why they got rid of the LEDs, um, it was two reasons. One, for Guy Manuel, it was really hard to see. But also they would have these like giant battery packs, and they'd wear like gauntlets to power the LEDs, and it was a lot. You're like
Mm.
wearing these like backpacks and stuff. It was just too much. So they didn't keep up with it. Their gloves, they purposely the glove design, they made sure that like the guys could still feel, right? Because when you're doing a set, you're touching knobs, you're touching the screen, you got to be able to like actually have some sort of sense of touch
Right.
when you're
Right.
performing. um, and yeah, so I put up the Discovery era helmet. So that was Discovery is going to be their second album. So we're going to talk about that shortly. And then the transition helmets, as you can see, we opted for a simpler design for Guy Manuel. This is between their second and third album. You can see Tomas. He's got a little smile. He's a little happy. He's a little happy guy. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how the helmets came to be, just going in depth, the nerdy stuff. They came out with their second album Discovery in 2001. Um that's the one with one more
Yeah, I
time.
see the
We're
picture
gonna
on the bottom,
celebrate.
and it
Oh
reminds me
yeah.
of the music video for it.
Yes, so funny story about that. The all of those music videos come from this movie. So after this album came out, they partnered with a Japanese manga artist named Leiji Matsumoto. Now, I looked him up. I didn't recognize any of the mangas he's done. Oh my gosh, I said manga. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I let it slide because.
It's been a long day, okay. But I didn't recognize them, but I'm also like a noob when it comes to it. But they made this animation animated film. More, it's really a musical because the entire movie is set to the soundtrack of Discovery.
Mm.
So there isn't a single piece of spoken dialogue in this movie. The story is told through the songs. So the movie it's pretty cool. I'm gonna watch it at some point because I after studying it I was like, oh, this sounds kind of sick. So It follows this alien band. So there's four members. It's Octave on the left, Arpeggius, Beryl with the brown hair, and Stella. Um, and they get kidnapped by a military force from Earth. Turns out the person behind this kidnapping, his name is Earl de Darkwood. Very like that sounds evil. Even the name sounds evil. I was like, all right, all right. He erases their memories, disguises them as humans, and mind controls them into becoming a popular band known as the Crescendos. There's this space pilot named Shep who has a crush on Stella, so he pursues the kidnappers to Earth. He frees them from their mind control, but he sacrifices himself in the process. The band figures out Darkwood's plan. It turns out he wanted to use 5,555 gold records to gain a universal power by exploiting alien musicians. So they stop his plan. uh so he collapses in his manner. Yay, they win. They get their memories back. They get turned back into their regular alien forms, and they get sent home, and a statue was put up in Shep's honor for his sacrifice. And at the very end, there's kind of a twist though, because as they're looking at the statue, it starts to like zoom out, and it like zooms out of the planet to like the galaxy, and it just keeps zooming out further and further until you see a record playing and it says Discovery on it. So it's just the album. And it zooms out even more, and it's like a kid asleep in his room with a bunch of action figures, and the action figures look like these band members.
Hmm.
So they're kind of hinting of like, oh, it was all just a dream. Like none of this was real. But the reason why I brought up that Virgin Records thing, I was like, I think it's very interesting that they put out this movie talking about the exploitation of artists, right? Because this guy, Darkwood, like, this was, I think, his final record that he needed. So he managed to do this so many times. Um, I don't know if that was their intention, but I wouldn't think it's a coincidence that they made a whole film like kind of focusing on how the industry will exploit musicians. So
Mm.
I thought it's really cool. But yeah, that's why people recognize that music video, because it's from the movie, from all of Interstella. So
So
yeah,
that song, like, what were they doing? Like, do you
for
know?
one more time,
Yeah, like, were they
they were.
like,
I think in that one they're just performing.
okay.
I think so, if I remember correctly, and I'd have to look at it again. I did not watch all the music videos because that would have taken a lot of time. I also didn't want to spoil the movie for myself, but I swear that's the one where they're like just performing as themselves. I want to say it's not when they're humans yet.
Mm.
I think they're still blue in that one. So I think it's just like them performing as a band.
Okay.
Um But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'm sorry if I'm wrong and if it's them as humans, that's my bad. I just didn't want to spoil the movie, okay? I want to watch it later and the full thing. Um so after Discovery, they made their third album called Human After All. It came out in 2005. This album was interesting because they only produced it in 6 weeks.
Oh.
So 2 of the weeks, yeah, 2 of the weeks was recording, 4 of the weeks was mixing. Not a lot of time. The album had mixed reviews. The other two albums were like they did really well. This one was their first one where people were like, kind of, kind of rough. Which is funny because this is the one with Technologic on it.
Mm.
But yeah, people were saying it sounded a bit like too robotic, too repetitive. Um, but this is when you see their final like iteration of their masks, or not masks, sorry, helmets. So Toma doesn't have a smile anymore. It's very simple, very sleek. Same with Guy Manuel. He's not gold, all gold. It's just a little, bit of gold. More chrome for the gloves. We are going to talk about these encore costumes in a couple of slides. But I just wanted to show like this is their final kind of evolution, the one that we all like know and recognize now. And a year after they put this album out, they released a movie called Electroma, which is it's interesting because the They initially were gonna just make a music video for their song "Human After All,"
Mm.
but they expanded the footage and just made, like, a whole movie out of it. And this movie doesn't have any Daft Punk music in it, interestingly enough. Um, but the story follows two robot characters that represent Daft Punk. So there's the silver helmet robot and the gold helmet robot. So they're wearing their normal, helmets. They're driving through the southwestern U.S. To a town populated by robots, resembling them in various forms. I don't know if you can see in the back just a little bit, but there's
Yeah.
like one with a silver helmet, one with a gold, and they're just like, dressed like normal people. Um, and they find this facility, high-tech facility where they can get these latex masks. So they get these masks poured on them to make them look human. They look like caricatures of Thomas and Guy Manuel. Um, so they start like walking around the town, and the robot town is spooked by their appearance, so they chase them. And as they're being chased, the sun is beating down, so their faces start to melt. So there's a scene where they like go in the bathroom and they just like rip it off. They're like, "Oh, this didn't work," They're and this Electroma also no dialogue. So another movie where there's no spoken dialogue.
Hmm.
They don't seem to like to talk.
Mood.
They let their they let their music speak. Um, so once they gave up on the masks, this is where it gets a little dark. So just be ready. So they like drive into the desert, and the silver robot asks the gold robot to activate his self-destruct timer. So he like has his timer set, and then he just like explodes. And then the the gold robot uh can't reach his helmet, so he or can't reach his like timer. So he takes his helmet and destroys it, and then uses a shard to like ignite his hand, and then the movie ends with him just like on fire walking.
Nice.
And it's kind of like it's not funny. It's really dark, but the when this came out, everybody was like, "Oh my God, is Daft Punk over? Like, what does this mean?" It was very dramatic, very jarring for people. Yeah, I mean, and you can interpret the movie in many ways. Like you can say, "Oh, it's you can see there's robots that want to be human." I also see that like you know, it can also talk about individuality a little bit, right? Or non-conformity, because like it was so funny to see them driving through this town, and like there's a guy getting gas like with the fucking, with the helmet on, and like a guy waiting at the bus stop, and someone like going to the bank, like all these robot people doing really human shit. And when they find these two people that don't look like them, they chase them away because they're scared, you know? So yeah, it was very artistic. It had mixed reviews. People's biggest complaints was that it was like too long, because
Mm.
they had a lot of like long panning shots without it seems like nothing was happening, but they were just driving. But yeah, it was very different. So after this, like I said, people were like, is Daft Punk over? What's gonna happen? And then they performed at Coachella. We're gonna talk about that because
Coachella.
this set is insane. I have listened to this set. I'm not exaggerating. I've listened to the set 4 times in the past few days in its entirety.
Damn.
Um, it's really good. So before Coachella 2006, Daft Punk had not performed since 1997. So that is 9 years of no performance. Uh, They would get invited all the time, but they always said no. Coachella at the time, it was not nearly as like exclusive and popular as it is now. It was still fairly popular, but not like as crazy as it is nowadays. They sent Daft Punk, I can't recall if it was an email or a letter or both, but in this correspondence, they were like, "We will offer you $350,000 for the show," thinking like they might not do it. And Daft Punk said yes. And they invested most of the money, if not all of the money, into this set. The pyramid, they didn't tell anybody what they were doing. So they kept it very secretive. This whole pyramid, all the LED lights. Um, Nobody had seen anything like this before. Um, it's just like if you haven't watched it, uh watch it on YouTube. Now with AI, you can like upscale the footage. So what I did, the Coachella videos that I was finding, they weren't as good, but they'd have a set from Alive 2007. So Alive 2007 was their live they went on tour all over the world and expanded on the set that they did at Coachella. So they like expand the set list a little bit, change the technical production, but they were in the pyramid. So the one that I saw on YouTube, a very nice quality video, is of the one in Chicago when they performed. I think it was at Lollapalooza.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's really cool. The album is on Spotify as well. I listened to it when I was at Costco. It was very hype. I was having a great time. Enjoying listening to Daft Punk at
When were
Costco.
they at Lollapalooza? Was it
2007.
Lollapalooza?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It
then
was part of
that's
the live tour. Yeah.
then.
So it would be
Okay.
2007. Yeah. Um so it took about 10 people to build this, like when they have to set up the pyramid, it takes 10 people to set it up. Um, the reason why this set was like so amazing and people still talk about it and they're just like so crazy about it, because prior to this, no EDM act had ever done something so crazy before like this. Like not only the production, but the actual set itself. You would hear their songs like around the world, but then it would be like a different instrumental that they remixed on the fly. So you would hear like a loop and then they would build on the loop and then and they're just doing it on the fly live. No one had done that before. Like DJs typically play like other artists, you mix it up and mash it up, but they would remix their own stuff. Um, this set was so impactful. There was a documentary that came out about Daft Punk, and in the documentary, they interviewed Skrillex, and Skrillex said that he went to the set in 2006, and that was what exposed him to EDM. Like,
Hmm.
it changed so much. Like, I know I'm glazing this hard, but like, shit is just cool. Like, it's just the coolest shit. And to get even nerdier, we're gonna talk about Inside the Pyramid. I know this is like tech nerdy stuff, but I just think it's really cool. I won't bore you too much with it. How they came up with this. These two screens are like they called them custom made supercomputers, but they would each have Ableton Live playing on them. And then these are Behringer MIDI controllers. So they would use those. These, you know how much one of these goes for?
Mm-mm.
No less than 4 grand. You will not find one of these less
Sheesh.
than $4,000. It's a Moog um, Voyager, I think is the model. So this uses like analog. It's an analog synth, so it's an old design. They each had two that they would use. Then all of this stuff is to control the lights, and because the lights, of course, and would move in the video because they all even had video. Like when Technologic was playing, it would say like buy it, use it, break it, fix it. Like oh my god, it was so crazy. And then this bottom part, I think this is the 8 Mac Pros that they used. But this is like, dude, 2006. 2006, they put all of this shit together. Like, it's so crazy. I wish we had like footage from here. I haven't seen any footage from inside the pyramid, but at this set, you can see a little bit. They'll zoom in and they're like, oh, ba, ba, boop, beep. And you could see like it looks very futuristic, and we're like, whoa. So this is that encore set. Um, Kanye West came out with Stronger. He
Yeah, I was
sampled,
about to say like did
yeah,
so he sampled
yeah,
them. They didn't do the song together.
no.
Okay.
He sampled it. And this performance was at the Grammys in 2008. So you can see Kanye.
Hmm.
And at this performance, actually the pyramid was closed, and then it opens, and then you see Daft Punk. So these are those special. This is their special costume. This was a whole. They had to make a whole new helmet for this because you had to line it all with LEDs. You know, not only the helmets but also their outfits.
Mm.
But yeah, it's pretty damn cool. And this was their first televised live performance. So yeah, really cool stuff. They performed at the Grammys. Of course, we got to talk about Tron. Tron came a couple years later. That was in 2010. Tron Legacy. This soundtrack, dude. The movie was mid, but the soundtrack, Derez is still like one of my favorite songs. I remember when the soundtrack came out, I was like, oh, I was geeking out really
When
hard.
did it come out?
2010.
That's when I graduated high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but it was just so cool. They used an 85-piece orchestra for this soundtrack. So it was like a mix of orchestral and electronic music. I even put a picture of them up just so you could see their Tron helmets because there is, it is like a slightly different iteration. Um, I'm pretty sure they had a cameo in the movie too. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I think they had a cameo for like a scene or something. Um, and I found this like fun little piece of trivia that I didn't know before, so I wanted to share it with you. So in 2014, so 4 years later, this song called Computerized like surfaced online, and it featured Jay-Z.
Mm.
And when you listen to it, it talks about like, fearing our reliance on technology. And Jay-Z says like, somebody tell me what's real. I don't know how to feel. Like he's rapping about those sorts of things. And apparently, this song was originally supposed to be in Tron Legacy, but the lyrics didn't really like fit the fantasy type setting of the film, so they scrapped it. But if you listen to the song, you can hear like parts of the score from Tron Legacy in the instrumental, which I
Mm.
think is kind of cool. But I was like, wow, Jay Z could have been in a Tron Legacy song, like in a different timeline, So that's pretty cool. But after Tron, they put out their final album, Random Access Memories. It came out in 2013. I put up both album covers. So this was their original album cover, and then this was the one when they did their 10-year anniversary in 2013. A little bit of fancy schmancy chrome. This album, I'm gonna geek out a little bit because I was obsessed with this album when it came out. And now that I know how it was made, I love it even more. So their idea for this album, they talked to this guy named Chris Caswell. He was like a well-known musician in the industry. He actually did some of the arrangements for Legacy, and they commissioned him to gather a bunch of like session artists to perform for the record. So Tomas said that instead of doing like, we grab samples of things, I want to sample from people. So they wanted the people to be like performing, and they would take from those sessions and make it into the album.
Mm.
And they avoided using samples completely. They just, except like in one song, I think it was in Contact, one of their last songs, but that's how they built the whole thing. So it sounded very organic. It was the first time they collaborated with artists too, because that was the one Pharrell Williams is on it, Panda Bear is on it, Nile Rodgers, he was like a disco guitarist. Um, I mean, it's just great. It's just a great album. Julian Casablanca from The Strokes, I think he's the lead singer of. Um, Funny enough, he's on the song Instant Crush. In the re-release, so in the 10-year anniversary release, they added like 35 minutes of unreleased outtakes and demos. There's a demo called Infinity Repeating with Julian Casablancas. And apparently when the song came out, they were like, we don't really it's like kind of weird, we don't like it. But a year later, Julian was like, can you guys like put the song out? And apparently he would like ask them continually to release a song, so Daft Punk didn't release it for like 10 years.
Damn.
The song is good, and that's what I was like, I listened to it and I was like, wow, so this didn't make the cut, like, and that makes me think of all the stuff that they've scrapped that they're like, "Nah, this isn't good enough." And the music video for Infinity Repeating is brought like a little thug tear to my eye because at one point they cycle through all the helmets. So you see like, with the LEDs and without and then swapping to the final ones and I was like, "Oh." And they even show the Tron helmets for a second. I'm like, "Oh my god, the end of an era." I was like, it was really sad. But yeah, this album is god, it's just great. If you haven't if
I
you're
don't think
listening,
I don't think I've even heard it.
you've heard Get Lucky.
How does that go?
She's up all night to get
Oh yeah, I
fun.
know that
I'm
one.
up
Yeah.
all night for good fun. I'm up all night to get lucky. So there's that one and Give Life Back to. So the album starts with Give Life Back to Music, and it's just like bum 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 bum, and you just like you get goosebumps. You're like, damn, this is about to be fire. You should just check it out. It's a really good album. I like it a lot. There's the song you might find a bit strange is it follows Giorgio. It's the Italian guy, but he just like gives a story of his life in it. But he's like a known people are gonna get mad because I don't know who he is. Crap. Giorgio something. He's like a big deal. Bald. Now I gotta look him up because it's gonna bother me. But yeah, they got this guy to do it. I think he had been a musician for a long time or something, so that's why it was like a big deal that they worked with him. So let's see. Giorgio Moroder.
Hmm.
He is an Italian composer and music producer. He's dubbed the father of disco. Pioneered Euro disco and electronic dance music, so he's a
And
big
what's
deal.
his most popular song?
Let's see. Damn, he's 84. Ooh.
Mood.
I Feel Love. Wait, he did that.
How does that go?
I feel love. Is that the same song? Yeah, with Donna Summer. Oh, I feel love. I feel
Oh,
love. I feel love. I feel love. Oh, that was him. Okay, Slay. He founded a music studio that was used by the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Queen, and Elton John. Hot stuff. Looking for the hot stuff,
hmm.
baby, this evening. I need some hot stuff, baby, tonight. So that's a lot of Donna Summer. He did a lot of Donna Summer songs, so that makes sense. Damn, okay, Slay. Yeah, so he's made songs for David Bowie, Kylie Minogue, Bonnie Tyler, Janet Jackson, Blondie. Uh, wow, he did Take My Breath Away. Take my breath
Oh, really?
away. Yeah. Dang. He did What a Feeling. What a Feeling. Okay, this guy, I feel really bad that I didn't put him in the presentation, but they got him to, he basically, the way they came up with that song is they're like, hey, just come and talk about your life. And that's what he does. And they just like put instrumental behind it. So now I'm going to have to I'll re listen to it with different eyes because oh my God, people are gonna. When I listened to it, I was like, it's some old guy. I don't know. I was like, it's just Daft Punk.
Damn,
It's Daft Punk
that's
being Daft
bogus
Punk.
as hell.
And I've listened to that album so many times. Not once did I think, I should look that up. I was just like, it's just some old guy. I don't know. I was like, it's a
Damn.
compelling story, I guess. Like, I'm so sorry. Anyways, after this album, they continue to do work. They co-produced Kanye's Yeezus, which came out in 2013. They appeared on two songs by The Weekend, Starboy and I Feel It Coming. I want to talk
Good
about the
songs.
music video. Huh? Yeah, they're
Good
they're
songs.
bangers. Like Daft Punk makes bangers. I mean, that's pretty on brand for them. I want to talk about what happens in the music videos because it will kind of tie into my lore story time that I'll do in a moment. So I feel it coming. Uh, the weekend is like on this snow planet and eventually turns to stone and gets snowed over. And at the very end of the music video, Daft Punk shows up, and that's why I put him on the slide. They brush the snow away, and you see like a pink glowing thing, and then the beginning of Starboy starts to play. And that's how the music video ends. So the theory is that this is like a neon leftover of his existence. Because in Starboy, if you remember, he has that pink cross. I don't know if you've ever seen that music video.
Mm-mm.
Um, or the album. He's got this like pink glowing cross. It's like a you see it all over uh the album. So he just like takes a cross and he's smashing his old records. But the video beyond that part, beyond him smashing stuff, the video starts with him like s- uh killing himself. Like he's looking at himself, like like a twin type shit, like sister or what's that one with Lindsay Lohan? Parent Swap? What's it
Parent
called?
Trap?
Parent Trap? Parent Trap? That type of shit where like he's looking
Mm.
at himself and it's him like killing his former persona because he had like his old haircut. So like reinventing himself for this new album, right?
Mm.
So he does that and then starts like smashing his records. And as he's walking around the house, you see this painting of with Daft Punk on it. So they look like, I don't know, explorers, gods, something, but they show up in those two music videos in that way. The years following, they do their own like solo projects as producers. When I looked at what it wasn't anything I recognized, so I didn't put it out there. However, I will say because Thomas is very into orchestral music. I listened to his album today on Spotify, and I thought it was quite nice background music. It was like an hour and a half. 2023, he put out this entire like orchestral album
Hmm.
with like yeah, it was pretty cool. So sad day for Daft Punk fans. February 22nd, 2021. They release a video on their YouTube channel titled Epilogue. This video has a scene from the Electroma film where the one robot explodes, but instead of the other one catching fire, he just walks away into the sunset. And as he's, walking away, you see the 1993 till 2021. One of their songs is playing. Um, yeah, it's pretty sad. Later that day, their publicist confirmed that the band split up, but they didn't give a reason why. This news led to 2,650% increase in sales. And I saw that number and I was like, that doesn't sound right to me. But it turns out it came from Alpha Data. So they provide data analytics to Rolling Stone charts. So I was like,
Mm.
okay, so that's legit. But I had to fact check it because I was like, nowadays you see AI shit everywhere.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to know what's legit and what's not. So you're welcome, podcast listener. I did that for you. Um, they're they're they have a friend of theirs, Todd Edwards, someone they collaborated with, confirmed that Thomas and Guy Manuel were still active separately. So Guy Manuel, they went in different directions. So Guy Manuel was more interested in hip hop, and Thomas was more interested in film and orchestral works, which explains the 2023 album that he put out on Spotify. Uh, as of 2023, they still share a studio and equipment. That was the last interview of theirs I could find, or I think it was just Thomas that talked about it. So they're still like on good terms. I think really ultimately what happened was they did all that they wanted to do with the project
Mm.
and just went their separate ways. Like after Random Access Memories, like I don't know, it's kind of hard to. I mean, they could just disappear for 10 years and drop another banger. Like that's what they do. But I I understand. And a fun little like last piece of trivia is last year February 22nd they did a Twitch broadcast of the Interstella movie,
Hmm.
which I thought was kind of cool. So I didn't know that they did that. But I think this year on February 22nd I'm gonna watch it. to honor them.
if you
No, I
remember.
just yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna look at the day too, and I'm like, this day means something.
Yeah, like
I'm
I
like,
should have done something today.
yeah, and then I'm like, did I forget to pay a bill? And then I'll
Same
just
with,
like, completely forget.
hold on, let me see if, let me see. 22nd, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you got off scotch free. That's a Saturday because I could have been like, we could have uploaded the episode.
Oh,
But it's a
nice
Saturday, so
try. No, no, that's okay. So with their whole
today's the
story told
22nd.
of January,
Yeah, but that's, still the
I'm
odds.
not uploading it tonight. I won't have, I'll be so tired.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh,
Okay, you know what? Sorry for like try to show interest. Like next time I won't.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it's interesting.
Yeah, that today's the 22nd? No, because you're like, oh, it's just
No.
January.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not a phase, Mom. Um, with the story laid out from start to finish, I'm gonna try to come up with a lore explanation. This is again my interpretation. This is by no means official. I'm just gonna give it a shot. Okay. So, with their first album, Homework,
Who's that on the
Daft
left?
Punk, what? Them. That's
Oh,
them.
that's them?
Oma and Guy Manuel. Yeah. It's just
Oh,
them really young.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm,
To be in your youth.
can't relate.
It couldn't be me. So in their first album, Homework, they're still human, but they have a fascination with blending ordinary with the surreal. Songs like Defunct show that there's a world with unusual creatures like the Dog Man. And maybe that's like a reflection of their experimentation with creating worlds through sound. So this album represents like their exploration of humanity's connection to creativity and how sound can shape your reality. And then their transformation into robots, happened between Homework and Discovery. So this is where they get rebuilt as machines. Their robotic personas aren't just physical. It becomes like symbolic of their disconnection from their former humanity. So Discovery is their way of trying to relive their humanity. That's their second album. They because Discovery, they did say it's like trying to reminisce on like your childhood dreams, and so I think it kind of aligns with like the simplicity and the joys of being human, because their two of their songs are called like Digital Love and Something About Us, which reflect human emotions of love and nostalgia. And then Interstella 555 fits in perfectly because of the kid that like had this whole dream about this uh alien band that saves their world. um then when we get to Human After All, they're dealing with their robotic nature because the album sounded robotic and repetitive and cold. Um, and Electroma, their movie fits in perfectly because this is them like literally trying to regain their humanity, and ultimately failing. But I think with this lore explanation, their suicide is more symbolic versus like literal, because with random access memories it can be shown as kind of like a prequel, which showcases like the emotions that shaped their creativity before they became human. And it makes sense because the sound is like organic and living, which sounds very very human. um, and then at the end, with the weekend collaboration, it can be like kind of like a farewell, that they did, that they've accepted their robotic existence, but they want their music and message to live on. So instead of like literal mentors, they can be like guiding forces. So it's like their essence still exists through other music videos. Funny enough, this concept with them like showing up in the music videos was actually supposed to be this wasn't supposed to be their only music video where they kind of like show up as like explorers. It was supposed to be a series, but it never like happened. So
Mm.
it could have been that would have really fit in if like, oh yeah, it's just like them living on digitally, helping like the next generation of superstar musicians, come to be. Um, and that's my story of Daft Punk. I tried to put it together best that I could, but it's hard because of the order that they do things. It's just, a bit different. Um, but yeah, it wasn't supposed to be this long, but I got too excited and talked too much. But I hope everyone enjoyed it. Like I had way too much fun. Like I don't know, it's just like cool shit. Like they did a lot of cool shit.
Yeah.
Like the pyramid, just watch it. Just watch some of the set. It's so fucking cool. Like I'm gonna listen to a live 2007 again. So good. That's how I started my morning. I played Prime Time of Your Life. Prime time of your life. Not live. And then it goes doo, 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 doo. And I'm like waking up. I'm like, yeah, let's go.
And I started off while listening to some murder cases.
Oh, what's that SVU? What's that SVU intro?
The one.
Imagine that being your alarm.
Oh man, no, my alarm is classical music, so I don't wake up with a heart attack. Cause I
That's
used to
fair.
do I used to do just Spotify like top charts, and it's all like those pop music, so it'd be like "Ba-da-da-da," and I'd be like, so now it's just classical like la 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 la, quietly waking me up.
That's my alarm is also very gentle. It's like a uh it's actually like the default Android one, I think, or it used to be the default Android one. Actually, when I
Is
got
it
this
the
new phone, I had no, it's I'll show you. I'll play it. It's called Argon.
I can't hear anything.
Oh, it's not playing. Can you hear it?
No.
Damn, that's bogus as fuck.
Do you have it quiet as fuck? Put it really loud.
No, it's up all the way.
No, nothing.
It goes dun 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 dun
I
dun
think that's my
dun.
aunt's ringtone.
Yeah, it's called Argon. It's lit. But what I do is I use the sunrise alarm clock. So it like simulates the
Yeah, I
sunrise.
remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how because usually that'll wake me up, but if not, I put that alarm on. So then again, it's like it's not so jarring.
Hmm.
Um, did I ever tell you the story about my sister's alarm
Mm-mm.
growing up? So we used to share a room
Yeah, I know
when
that.
we were kids. Yeah, and she had one of the alarms that she had. She would also set her alarm like 5 or 10 minutes before mine, which was also very annoying. Very little sister type shit. I'm just like, okay. So you know the song I Won't Give Up by Jason Mraz?
How does it go?
Well, I'll just sing the alarm for you because it was that song and the part that she chose for the alarm was the I won't give up on us even if the sky gets rough every morning. I can't listen to that song anymore. I can't. I get like PTSD. I'm like, because it was so scary. It was like Jason Mraz was screaming at me every morning when I was in like middle school and high school. It was so awful. I was like, why would you set this? Why was this your choice?
that's
So
interesting.
ridiculous. Well, she's a character, as we know.
Yeah.
So that was her choice. But I was just like, seriously? So what was your ringtone? Like in how like having like a cool ringtone for when you were younger?
Honestly, I don't remember. I changed it a lot.
The one I remember was Over by Drake, and I thought it was so cool. This is that beginning.
Wait, mine?
No, mine.
Okay, I was gonna be like,
Yeah, because it was like I was like, Labastevale. I was like, what up?
mine right now
Speaking a
is,
foreign language, like,
even
wow,
though
you're so
my
cool.
phone's on silent all the time, my ringtone is the New Pagadi song, the Oh Puchumu one.
Puchimu, Puchimu.
Yeah, it's like Oh Puchumu, 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 blah blah blah
I
blah
don't
blah blah
even
blah.
I don't know if I have a ringtone. Like, I don't think I've ever put my phone on,
I
like,
used to have my phone on
sound.
loud on sound, but people will text me so much that it was just like bring 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 bring, and my mom's all like, "What the fuck? I can't sleep because all I hear in the night is bring bring."
What is this? Oh, I can't hear it.
I can't
Can
hear
you
it
hear it?
either. No.
I don't know. It's some default shit. I've never heard it before. I guess that's my ringtone. I didn't even know. Mine's always on silent. Like,
Yeah.
even if I'm expecting a call, my screen will light up, so that's how I know.
Well, I wear this watch that is part digital, part just regular.
A smartwatch.
Yeah, but it's not like one of those like like Apple watches where
It's
it's,
not like the other
yeah, it's
watches.
like an actual watch. Like it has the whole analog thing.
I think some smartwatches do that though, don't they? Or no? Is that not popular? To also
Uh
have oh, because a
no,
lot
theirs
of
is
times it's like full
digital.
on digital.
Yeah, this isn't all digital.
Oh,
The only digital part is this
that's
bottom little
cool.
bottom spot for like, and I'll get notifications. I can't do much on this watch. Like I could do steps
Yeah.
and heartbeat and all, but I can't like an Apple Watch or like even my Fitbit did more. But I just want a
Yeah.
classic looking and still get
Oh,
notifications.
nice. What brand is that?
Garmin,
And today's episode is sponsored by. No, I'm just kidding.
please Garmin, sponsor.
Imagine. I don't have. I did get when Starfield came out. I got the like primo whatever, so they had a watch, and I could like look at the moon phases. I was like, hell yeah, that's so cool. But it's kind of big. My wrist is small, so like the face of the watch was like as big as my wrist.
Damn.
No joke, because most gamers are men, so I think that's why the size was
Yeah.
larger. And I have my little like baby wrist that's I also, as you were talking, I just saw Rocky's paw on the
Do
like,
you see him?
hello.
He
Yeah.
has his toy and he's like, yeah.
Hell yeah. I didn't see him with the toy. I just saw him like pawing up on your
Mm.
armrest trying to get up. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed the Daft Punk. What like I don't know, what's your takeaway? What's your I talked so much. I want to be quiet.
My takeaway is I don't know. It's just interesting to see people like start off as something else and then like we're gonna do this now and then
Yeah.
grow. Because
Yeah.
when you're talking about like they weren't doing samples and stuff, that remind me of the Avicii documentary where they created stuff with like he wasn't sampling, he created the beats or whatever and like had actual people come in and do like the music. Like he didn't
Oh.
sample like their music, like came in
Maybe
and for it.
maybe he was inspired by Daft Punk.
Maybe. And there was he did a live performance where they had them come out on stage like the singers for the music and they'd like a live
That's
band kind of
cool.
thing, but he got booed.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Why?
because
They didn't
people
like
in the
live
crowd were
band or
expecting like house music or whatever he did, EDM or whatever genre.
yeah. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, the documentary is really interesting.
I heard it's sad.
Well, yeah, because he's dead.
Yeah, I know, but like the struggle with like depression and
Hmm.
like fame and that's the part that I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can like if I think I'll cry. Like I think that's why I'm like I think events as of late in the war in the US especially have been like stressful enough that I'm like, do I really want to watch something sad,
But
you
it's
know?
it's cool to see the journey and stuff. But of course it
Yeah.
ended.
No, how does it end? I don't know.
He kills himself.
What? Yeah, I'm just kidding. I knew that.
I want to see a Mac Miller like documentary like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't tried to make one. I
Mm.
feel like you can milk, no offense, like I mean, I'll keep it a buck. Like I feel like a lot of those
Their
sometimes they try to,
estates,
milk it. Yeah,
like the Juice
milk
World
it.
estate.
Hmm. What about the Juice World estate? What did they do with that?
I don't know. People say that like the albums, after he died, that they came out, the estate came out with, or like, they shouldn't have.
Oh, with Biggie. They
Mm.
did that with Big, specifically P. Diddy.
Yep.
He abused the hell out. I mean,
Mm.
and they weren't even that good. And that's the thing that bothered me. I was like, ugh, just stop. Like it's one thing, like the Mac Miller one I thought was decent. The
Yeah, it
one
was
that just
decent.
came
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
It captured the essence of like
And they even came out
his
with
music.
a movie for it, or like, well, it's not a movie. It's like 25 minutes long on Prime Video or Prime for the
Oh,
album. Mm.
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Mm.
Huh. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do one for Mac. It's also like I feel like it has to be done right.
Yeah.
I mean, like interviewing all the people. You got to be careful with how you present the person. Like
Mm.
it's a hard thing to capture, and especially when the end is such a tragic one. It's a difficult story to tell.
Mm.
That's why I'm glad to hear the Vici one was so well received because
Mm.
yeah, that's his story is pretty tragic.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I'll have to watch it. I did finish Breaking Bad, my rewatch of that. Maybe I can watch the documentary no, but I don't want to watch it when I'm cooking. 'Cause I want to like watch
Mm.
it. When I'm cook, I like to put a show when I cook, but I'm not like fully watching the whole time
Yeah.
because I got to chop or
That's what I
whatever.
do with YouTube videos. Like, I'll be like, put on something where I don't really have to watch. I could just listen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I feel like for this documentary, I need to like
Mm.
watch. Maybe this weekend then. Maybe I'll have some time and I could just watch. Honestly, like we talked about this the last time I think too, but the most TV I watched was when you came by.
Mm.
So I was like, yeah, I'll just catch up on all this stuff because usually I'm just reading or making music. I'm just doing other shit. So I'm just like, and I didn't want to like work on mashups when you were here. I'm like, I want to hang out with you. Like,
Right.
that's so weird. Like, I'm not gonna. Okay, I just gotta work on this real quick. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Or like, hey, I want to play this game, but not play with you. Like,
Mm.
what? That would be so wild. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like, subscribe, comment. Love hearing from you folks out in the internet. I suck. Anyways, you guys enjoy.
All right.
We'll see you next
Bye. Bye
time.
bye.